Okay, so let's just hand trace this code, okay? So it's very important for you to be able to hand trace this for loop. So, so this is the example that we use, and this is the code that we just executed, right? So now first you have indentation here, right? So this is all part of the while loop, right? This is all part of the while loop, and then you have if statement in the while loop. So of course there's another indentation here. So this is part of the if statement, right? That's first thing that you need to know. And then we have two important value to trace. One is the largest, and another one is the value. So we have largest, and then we have value, right? Then we have a loop, so loop number one, and then we have a value, and then we have a largest. So loop number one, user enters what? 88, right? 88. So at the very beginning, the value string is 88 string, and the largest is 88, right? So largest is 88 at the very beginning. Okay, and then so value string, which is string 88, is not equal to empty string, and then the value is so you convert this 88 string into the number 88. So the value is now 88. So we are in the loop number one. And then is the value 88, right? 88, right? And then at the very beginning, the value is 88 and the largest 88. So this is a false, and then so this is not going to be executed, and there's not much things you can do. So value is 88, and the largest is 88, right? And then so the value string input enter another value. So this time user enters 90, right? So let's go to the while loop. Is that 90? String 90 is not equal to empty string, so this is a true. This whole thing is a true, and the value becomes 90. So this is 90, right? Because assume that user enters another value 90, right? And it's a 90, right? And is that value 90 is greater than the largest? So is that the 90 is greater than 88? Yes. So it's a true. So this becomes true, and the largest is going to be updated with a new value, which is 90. So in the loop number two, the value is at this point is 90, and the largest is 90. Why? Because you're comparing the 90 with the 88. So your new largest is 90, and then it's going to print this statement. And then this program, your program will ask you to ask a user to enter another value. So this time user enters 100, right? And then goes to the loop. So this is loop number 3. You know that the value is now is 100. Right? The user just has entered at 100. And then the value is greater than the largest. Is it 100 is greater than the largest? Yes. So the largest will be updated. So the largest is 100. And then your program will ask ask users to enter another value. So go to the while loop. And then 100, so the user enters what, 85. The loop number 4. Value is what, 85. 85 will be compared to the 100 largest here if the value is greater than largest. But this case 85 is not greater than 100. So this becomes what? This becomes false, because 85 is not greater than 100. So this 2 lines of code will not be executed. And then your program will enter another, so done with the if statement. And then your program will ask user to enter another value. And this time user enters what? Empty string, meaning the user just basically presses the enter, and then empty string is equal to not equal to empty string. So this becomes what? This whole thing becomes a false, because empty string, right, is not equal to empty string. So that is a false, because empty string is equal to empty string. So basically this becomes false when the user enters empty string, and that's the so this becomes false, and it will exit out of this while loop, and then it's going to execute the next statement. So the maximum value is what? 100, right? Sorry, I forgot to update this largest. First 88, and then 90, right? And then it's 100. So it's going to print a largest, which is 100. I'm sorry, I forgot to update this largest variable. Okay, so it's just like I said, it's very important. It's very important for you to be able to trace down this while loop. Okay, so let me just end my lecture here.